You know, the big reveal that I thought was going to happen in this book didn't. Oh, I'm a little disappointed. She's done this so often. She'll do this big build up and then she'll end the book and you're thinking, well, it'll be continued in the next book. It's not. This has happened a couple times before. And then it's not this book, but it's the book after. It's like every other book. So anyways, where was we? Oh yes. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Kristina. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy smash stuff going on here. And we are on book 9, Queen Without a Crown. And, it's getting a little old now. I know it's going to go on for a little while longer. I know people, during this time period, it went on forever for them. I wonder how much of their daily lives was consumed by this stuff back then. Who knows? But we're talking the 1500s. We're talking 400 years ago. So who knows? So I did my spreadsheet again because we have a whole bunch of characters. Whenever there's an onslaught of characters, I started, because this series was new to me, and if you've watched my videos previously, I started with book 23, and I hated it, and I hated all the catch-up in the beginning, and then halfway through my video, it occurred to me, stupid, the reason you hate this book is because, it's book 23. You need to start a series with book 1 to get to know all the characters, because you like these type of books. So I went back, started with book 1. You watch all those videos. So there's a lot of extra characters in here, and a lot of the extras actually are important to pay attention to. So we do have Ursula, who does stuff on the side for the Queen, little spy agent, and also revealed previously that she is the illegitimate half sister, and her husband Hugh, and Meg is her daughter. And we know from the last book, Gladys getting a lot of trouble last week. She almost got hung for being a witch and all this other kind of stuff going on. So she's trying to behave herself now. And then Sybil, the companion, and Dale and Broccoli. I forever call him Broccoli. Her maidservant and manservant. And so they're at court, or actually, yeah, they get called to court, and they don't even know how to. They get called. They're gonna do this job. They're tending to the Queen, and while they're there, this guy approaches them and knows how well they are in investigations, and he just recently found a letter from his father saying that he was completely 100% innocent in the crime he was accused of. So he wants to pay Ursula X number of pounds to find out whether or not his father did this thing. This is a very old crime. It's over 20 years old, a cold case. And most of the people involved are deceased. But we also have the reason normally Ursula wouldn't take this case. However, there's extenuating circumstances. It seems without her knowledge, and she's married to the guy, and I don't know how she didn't know unless stuff happened while she was away, which could have happened because Ursula does go away quite a bit. He made a deal with some merchants. He thought he was going to get a little on the wealthy side to earn some extra money. They were going to get these ships and they were going to go and get this material and spices and stuff like that, and then they're going to bring it back to England and sell. Well, those ships had accidents and didn't make it, and he mortgaged his house, and now he owes the balance on the house. So that's why Ursula takes the position, because this guy says to you, I've got a house, I'm going to sell it for X dollars, and I will give you that money because I don't need that money because I've got another house. And if you'll help me solve this mystery, because the Masons won't let me marry their daughter unless, because of my family tree is tainted because of my father's crime. So she decides to take this on. And she decides to investigate it with the Queen's permission. So we have her investigating this murder that took place 20 years ago. We have the situation with Hugh. And a spoiler here, Hugh gets sick. And spoiler alert, I wholly expected her to come back from this and find out that he had passed, but he did not. He's still alive at the end of this book. I do know what's going to happen between this book and this one. I haven't read it yet. I haven't even looked at it yet. So, we'll see what happens there. But then, in the midst of all this stuff, this is the 1500s. And if you went traveling, and inns weren't a big, they were inns, but they were on more, traveled roads. But if you were going someplace that was real country and you needed someplace to stay, you stayed at a person's house. So he goes to Mark. Mark tells her that this painter supposedly painted a portrait of his father, and he's never seen it. He doesn't even know what his father looked like. And Ursula just hired an artist to do a portrait of Meg. So, and supposedly it comes out really, really well. And supposedly he also painted a picture of this guy's father 20 years ago. So they go looking for the portrait, and stuff happened in the family, and the family didn't want the portrait in their house, and it was handed off to this person, handed off to this person, handed off to this person. So Ursula goes looking for this painting, and they go traveling up into territories. Now the problem with that is we have this little situation going on here. Let's see. Let's see if I can find the correct page here. Um. The Earls of Westmoreland and Northumberland, stirred by the wild ambitions on the part of another nobleman, the Duke of Norfolk. From here, this book that I've had to tape 5 times, had between them mustered 15,000 men, and now ridden into the city of Durham in the northeast to raise the standard of the revolt. They intend to release Mary of Scotland from her captivity in England and carry her back to Scotland. And then apparently they dream of reinstating the Catholic faith in their own country. These are the pretexts for the act of treachery, so Lord Sussex writes. And we know all that, not this book, but the book before it. And we know that she was being held captive in an estate. Much better than a prison in these times. The prisons in this time, I'm surprised people didn't die in the prisons themselves from disease and all that kind of crap that goes on in these places. I mean, they didn't have any sanitary measures back then. It was just gross. And horrible and cold. And these people probably died of cold and starvation and disease and everything else back then. So there's this, the Mary Queen of, they're still trying to do this Mary Stuart stuff. And it's getting a little old, but I understand it goes on for years. It does go on for years. And we're getting close to the climax now. And so she doesn't want to leave Hugh. He's ill. But she goes anyway looking for these portraits. And she accidentally gets stumbled into the middle of the whole thing. She finds the portrait she's looking for. It bothers her a little bit, but then they find the reason for it. And it's just, they get captured. One of their persons gets killed. An old friend of Brackley's shows up. And it bothered me in the beginning when this guy showed up. And I thought maybe he was the enemy or something like that. But apparently it was guy ribbing each other, that kind of stuff. Joking with each other, lighthearted jokiness that seemed a little too serious to start with, but it was okay. So later on, it's proved that this guy's a really good friend and associate of Broccoli's. So they do end up in this trouble. They do get caught in the middle of it. They end up escaping like 3 times and getting caught 3 times, or 2.5 times. But it's disturbing. So that's basically your story. You've got Hugh losing his house, or potentially losing his house because of the business deal he made. And he didn't tell Ursula. And I'm like, you should have told Ursula in the beginning, got her opinion on it in the beginning. Of course, she may have been out on one of her million errands for the Queen. And the marked ancestry. And we get to catch up with people from the book before this book. When she was doing the Mary Stuart stuff, that was like 2 books ago. She had Penn and Clem, and they got Dudley's old estate, and it was given to them, and it's turned prosperous, so we get to catch up with them. So that was a little on the good side. And do Mark's investigation. And Meg gets her portrait done, and we catch up on her and what's going on with her and how she's gotten over Mr. Edmund from the last book. So that's your story. And we'll have to see what happens here. Oh, snow on the ground. We'll see what happens. Don't forget to check out Star Trek Next Generation Fridays, and Friday afternoons. We kind of went a little bonkers with St. Patrick's Day. Fairy tales, St. Patrick's Day cozy mysteries, and Luck of the Irish, gambling, regencies. I owe a debt. I gotta marry this person because to pay my debts. So that was where I went with that. Gambling halls, Irish stuff going on. And Flashback Monday. Talk about all those books in that magazine. Oh, I love it. I love that magazine. What is she doing? I gotta go save my cat. She just got some wires. She's a pain in the caboose today. So anyways, have a good one.